This is the ROG Phone II Tencent version. We just received it in the mail, but who wants to see another boring video of unboxing? No one. So, goes to the trash can. Yes, my trash can is a Nintendo box. Don't ask. Hello guys, again, thanks so much for those comments, thanks so much for the requests. Let's get going with this test. We're gonna be trying some God of War. So for God of War we have to crank everything up. All the settings are cranked up to the maximum, and let's just try it, you know. What I've been doing is that I've been lowering the resolution for these games, so it's 1x versus 2x, which I usually had it at. And well, at the beginning it's a little bit too slow, so I made a save state for you to skip all of that, you know. You don't have to go through all of that. So I waited till this point where it's kind of like indoors, and it runs pretty nice. As you can see in the FPS, it's consistently getting into 60, and sometimes there's a point where it's like 62. I don't know why that happened, but it happened, and I'm happy it happened. And yeah, I mean, you can see here it's just, I'm just testing it, right? Not necessarily, I'm not very invested into it, but it's very smooth. The sound runs really good as well, and I will be cutting to the boss fight. Here we have we're just about to start the boss fight, and you'll see there is a consistent frame rate. However, there is a little bit of slowdowns here and there. So my settings, I will show them in a minute. It's the same setting that I had in the previous game that I made the video for, and I ended up changing them for this video. For God of War 2, we can see here the temperature is 42 degrees. So what I want to do is like see what's the temperature prior the boss fight, and then after the boss fight, how much did it raise. So as I was saying, I had to change my settings, and I'll show you how that impacted. It actually was very good. So I changed them for God of War 2 because it was very unplayable. It was giving me like 35. And it was like way below 40, or sometimes it was like 40 something. It still was very slow. Here you can see like it slows down to 45, 46. So I ended up recording it again after I changed the settings, because I was so happy with the results on God of War 2 that I went back and I was like, oh, I'm gonna record this God of War 1 and see how it runs, you know. So you'll see it at the end of the video. So it's playable, you know. I mean, you can see like there is slowdowns, but I mean, at least in this boss fight, you kind of like welcome it. It's not extremely slow. Surprisingly, it feels not as slow as it looks when you're playing it. Here I had to remember what to do. I was like, what? Oh, okay. I remember this. I remember I had to do something with this thing. So the beginning of the game, when the game just starts, you have all of these rain texture running, and the same thing as in here, but there is like so many different inputs, you know, like there is little enemies, there is sometimes projectiles, they're shooting arrows at you, and because of that it slows down even more than now. You can see here now it dropped all the way to 37, 38, and now it's definitely slow. Anything below 40, it's way too slow to enjoy it. And it's interesting because, I mean, previously it was running a little bit faster and both heads were active. Right now one of those heads it's already down, but yet it's even slower than before. So here we go for the second head. And now for the big one. Now you can see here the frame rate increased. It's now within the 50s, which makes it way more enjoyable. Also, it's worth noticing that this game runs in either resolution. It runs really good. You don't see artifacts, you don't see glitches. At least in the gameplay you don't see glitches. You see a little bit of those horizontal lines on the cutscenes, but I guess that's part of how the emulator is rendering the video, because I've seen that in every single video, in every single cutscene that in any game that I have tested so far. So, but other than that, the game runs really good. Even when it slows down, it doesn't really gets affected. The animations are integral, you know, so you see everything. There is no black squares, there is not a lacking of texture mapping or anything like that, which is what you saw in the other video, which was a very smooth gameplay, but there were a lot of glitches. And in this one, no, it's very interesting how probably was the way in which it was written or programming, and the way in which the emulator interprets it's different. I'm really not savvy to these subjects, you know, so I can only imagine what it is, but I don't really know the exact answer. But it is nice. Then that's ultimately that's what you want, right? A game that is playable and that you can enjoy. And interestingly, here you can play it in your phone, which is something I never really dreamed of. So I'm really happy just by the fact that you can actually play these games in your phone. And that's the end of this guy. Finally, it took a little bit of time. So here you see, for example, what I was talking about, the vertical lines on the cutscenes. That is nothing that ruins the experience. It actually makes it look like an old movie, probably, if you use your imagination really hard. This is just amazing. This is just wow. I remember the first time I played this game, I was just Like, wow, what is this? I've been waiting for my whole entire life for a game like this. It definitely marked, I think, all of us, everybody who played this game, whether it was after it was released or at the moment it was released, definitely can agree that it's a hell of a game, you know. And it's also very good to play it again, because it definitely made me feel that good games are always good, you know, no matter when you play them. If it's a good game, it will still be good 10 years, 20 years after, 20 years later, or even more, right? Like retro games, for example. So here we can see the temperature raised to 44. Not that much. So I expected to go all the way to like the 48 or 50, and no, it wasn't that hot. Probably because of the ROG little vent, you know, the little, it has like a little vent, and I think also the back body would work as a thermal conductor. So the body gets really hot. So if you're gonna be playing it on the touchpad, I don't really recommend it. I recommend to get one of those controllers that you can place your phone in it, you know, because it gets really hot, like really hot. And it gets really hot like within minutes, like probably like within the first 3 minutes it's already really hot. So here you can see like there is some frame drops. It goes down to 35, sometimes 40, so it ranges between 35 and 40. Sometimes it gets really high, right? Like here 61, 60. So it's very variable. But overall, you can play this in these settings. Like you will see at the end of the video how I change the settings and how much it improves. It's just amazing. So what I notice is that every single time you get into like bigger areas or like open areas, of course it will be slowdowns, but when you are indoors, because there is less things to render, you will get these huge boosts of frames and you run fully to 60 or 59, even if there is more than one enemy at the same time, which is really good. I don't remember much about this game. I don't remember if the game runs mainly indoors or outdoors, or I don't know which one is more. I guess I will have to play it, right? So now for some God of War 2. Let's try it. This game in the default settings was also very unplayable. It was actually more slow than the other one, than God of War 1, which is logical. It was expected. but I just wanted to see how it is, right? If there is any improvement or not. So we're gonna be skipping this in this cutscene soon. He's so badass. He's so angry every single time. So here we go. Alright, so here we are near the gameplay, and you'll see how it even from the start it starts at 45 and then it drops down to 38, 35, so it's really not playable. It will take you forever to just clear one stage, and I guess it's because there is a lot of things happening at the same time. You know, there is this huge whatever Titan statue that is in the back, and then there is things breaking, the walls and the glasses, the windows are breaking, the enemies are there. There is more than one enemy here. For example, there is like 7 enemies and they're increasing. So I skipped it to the boss fight, and you'll see also there is like a lot of things going on in the background. It's very slow. It's very difficult to play it like that. At least those sequences are easy to guess, because are easy to nail, because it gives you so much time. But other than that, it's really tedious to play it like this. And just spoilers, I died. So here we drop all the way down to 30, 31, and it's just 29 here, for example. It's just very, very slow. As I was saying, anything below 40 is just unplayable, and I died, of course. So I blame the slowdown in my defense. So I went out of the game. And then I fixed the settings. The temperature was not that high. It was 43, 42. So I'll show you what I changed. So here in graphics, you see the rendering resolution is 1x. I think I left that like that. But in system, that's when I made where I made the changes. And system speed tweak, it was as slowest because of the best compatibility and the accuracy. But I changed that one. And I changed it to number 2, which is fast. And then the EE speed tweak, I also changed it, I think. No, I didn't change it. I changed the VU speed tweak to auto. So I was like, well, let's the software decide what is the best setting in that situation. And then went ahead and started again. I'm using, by the way, I'm using a PlayStation 3 controller that I plugged through the USB, and we started at 39 degrees. We clear some memory, and these are the results. So loading up the last save point, you can see immediately how the speed is just consistently 59, 60. It doesn't drop. And well, you also, well, it's indoors, right? You're by yourself. And here this battle, so far so good. And it's such a huge difference. So up here, just getting ready for the boss battle, you see there is not even a drop there. It's consistently 60, 59. Starting the boss fight, and we're still at 60. So by this time I was very excited to see this difference, because I was hesitant to change the settings, and probably that would have affect the way in which the gameplay, but negatively. And I'm really happy to see that it's not. That for example in the VU you can change it to auto, and somehow it helps a lot. I don't really understand much the setting, but the result, I like it. Again, this is running at 1x, so this is like the native resolution of the PlayStation 2. Okay, I can't blame the game here. I think I try it again. Yeah. But at this point I was already like really happy with the way in which the game, it's 100% playable. So if any of you already grabbed an ROG Phone II, or you're thinking about it, I highly recommend you to grab one if you're into emulation, of course. And if you're not into emulation but you want to have the phone, I mean, why not just get it, right? But you will be able to play this game. You will be able to play both God of War 1 and 2 with a very good settings. Enjoy it. You will be able to enjoy it from the beginning. I don't know till the end. I will have to check that myself. I will have to play it all the way to the end, see how it plays, see if there is any I don't know, if it drops or if it gets too hot and then it crashes, which can happen, right? Like, I mean, it's emulation after all. But recommendation is make sure that even if there is no save points in the game, try to make your own save states, and so that you don't get, you know, by mistake your data doesn't really get corrupted, or the emulator all of a sudden crashes and you didn't save, you know, because you never know. But definitely it's very playable, highly recommended. And also another thing is that I just got another phone to test. I got the OnePlus 7, and I got the model that has 12 gigabytes in RAM and 256 in internal space. So I will be also making some tests, some emulation tests in that phone. I already loaded with some of the games. I think I loaded with this, I'm not sure, but I loaded with some Wii games, and I mean, it should run fine because definitely it's I think it has the same hardware than the ROG phone. I think just the CPU runs slightly faster in the ROG phone, but not by much, you know. And I mean, this is the Tencent version and it only has 8 gigabytes in RAM. I don't know if the 12 gigabytes will make a huge difference in a phone. That's what I wanted to see. That's why I got this second phone to see, right, if 12 gigabytes it actually increases the way in which you can play the game, or you can increase some of the settings and it will handle it well, or is all down to the GPU and the CPU. Also, the comments of you guys suggesting the games, I read them. I will be checking those games as well. I'm making a list, and definitely expect the game to be tested in the phone. And if you even want for me to test it in the other phone, in the OnePlus 7, let me know in the comments, and we'll check it out. So here we see the temperature increase quite a lot. And I mean, it's because we changed the settings, and of course it's running a little bit more. It's demanding a little bit more on the hardware. But that was already expected for the performance that we're getting, and I mean, it's worth it. This is one of the things that it concerns me, right? So if it's running this hot in the first stage of the game, for how long will I be able to play the game before the emulator crashes, or the phone crashes, you know, or the phone enters into this safe mode that prevents it from running hotter? and because of that it might actually turn off automatically or reboot, you know, or close all applications. We don't know yet. I haven't tested that. I'm a little bit afraid of testing it. I really don't want to burn my phone, but it's running pretty hot. And this is something that I noticed only with this emulator, only with Damon. The phone gets really hot. You will assume that for the Wii games and for the GameCube it will run the same. So I was so happy with these results that I went ahead and tried on God of War 1. We're at 43 degrees right now. I was like, oh, this is really good. Let me see if God of War 1 handles it also the same way. And surprisingly it did. It's running very smooth as well. Here you can see a little bit of glitches on the bridge, but I mean that really doesn't disrupt your gameplay, and I think it's just the resolution because it was zoomed out quite a lot. But you're about to see the fights that we saw at the beginning of the video. Remember the ones that were running like 35 and so. Here they're consistently at 60, and it's really good. It's really fast, very smooth. Which is very important in these games to enjoy them, right? Because if there is a slowdowns, that definitely will ruin your flow, you know, it will ruin your rhythm. These games are a lot about like getting into the rhythm of making the combos and grabbing them and throw them against the others and just enjoying bashing and just swinging your chains. So you need that speed, you need that consistent frame rate. Again, this is running at 1x, but it's running with the new settings in which we set the VU tweak, speed tweak for auto. And the first setting, I don't remember the name, we set it for fast, so the option number 2. So those are the only two things we changed in the settings and looked improvement. So I was so happy with these that I wanted to try now rendering at 2x, you know, which will give you a little bit more of like the graphic will look a little bit sharper. So I was thinking, well, if it's handling it like this well at 1x, how much would that be at 2x, you know? I don't think it will be more demanding because I think that the phone can take care of that. if the emulator can run it, it's just gonna increase the resources that it's gonna demand on the phone. And since this phone is a beast in terms of resources, I was like, I think I can handle it at 2x. More than 2x I haven't tried, and I would be also curious about how many x's can I increase it and it will run like decent, you know, because I also don't want like a super sharp image and running at 35 frames. So if it's at 60 consistently, how much can I increase it? That will be probably for a different video, in which we will be doing more like a benchmark instead of a just emulation test, and see what are the limits of, let's say, God of War, you know, or the limits of any other game. So also let me know in the comments if you guys are interested into that, see how far we can get something consistent. So here I went out, I exit the emulator, and I changed the rendering resolution to 2x, as you could see. And I went ahead and tried God of War 1, and you can already see how like the image is a little bit sharper. And surprisingly, it handled it the same way as it 1x. Really happy with these new settings. If you guys already have the phone, try it out. If you don't have this phone and you have any other phone and you're also using the same emulator, let me know if these settings also works the same way for you. That will be very interesting for me to see if like the emulator itself kind of like squeezes all the resources of the phone in this way, and it maximizes the performance, or if it's only for those who are like very beefy gaming phones, you know. Definitely you will need a current generation phone to run this emulator, and that's different for example for the Redream, which is for the Dreamcast. I noticed that emulator is so fantastic, it's so good. Same thing as PPSSPP for the PSP. It's such a good emulator. It runs really nice even in not so new phones. But definitely for Damon you need quite a beefy phone, you know. So here you can see there is no drop. There is not dropping of frames whatsoever. It's consistently running at 60, 59. And it's just so good to play like that. Come on, just say hey. There you go. See, it was fun. So here we have a temperature is 44 degrees, which is good. So now we're going to like bigger enemies, and this is the point where I started to be a little bit where I was like, oh, I don't know if these enemies will be able to be handled well, you know, by the emulator. But nope, it was very smooth as well. So you can see here how sharp are the edges of the graphics. A little bit of shaky glitches here and there, but I mean, you see, for example, in the grass, there's a little bit of shaking in those textures, but it won't really interrupt your gameplay. So these are the big enemies that I was thinking it would have some slowdown, and nope, it didn't, to my surprise. I think I failed. Yep, I failed. Ugh. Here I went ahead and got the first level, just to see how I can handle it, you know, because with this one you can do the special, the rage of the gods. So you'll see it. It's really nice. Consistently, we're still getting 60 to 59 frames per second. There is no slowing down. Only my brain. So yeah, I was so happy with this that I was thinking, well, I should just keep this game here in my phone and continue this data, you know, because it's perfect, you know. There is no excuse to not play this game now. So let's put it on the list of the compatibility as like very playable, completely playable. And yeah, thanks so much guys for watching this video. Let me know if you want any other video game to be, or any other game, right? Video game, to be tested, and I will be gladly look into it. I'm already making a list, as I was saying. This is the only setting that I changed to number 2, to the option 2. That one, the EE speed stays as in 0, as is low, and the VU speed tweak, that's the one that we also changed to auto. Again, we were playing at 2x, which was the recommended as in default. If you guys like the video, please let me know. Let me know in the comments which games you want me to test. And yeah, subscribe for more content. Have an excellent day. See you next time. Bye.